know if he's doing that from a laptop, but he might have to use his phone.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
Thank you.
You're
Hey,
good.
Tracy. Hey,
All right.
Brenda.
I still can't do the background thing on my computer, so, but I see Pedro's the same, so I'm good.
Yeah,
Thank-
that's fine.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, I had to get my son to help me.
Hey, Tracy.
You found a background, Brenda.
I got my son to help me.
Very good.
Yeah, I tried rotating my desk. I tried different rooms. I just look all digitized. I don't know why. Different lighting,
It's
everything.
the same with me. I've tried all different kinds of lighting.
Can you hear me now?
Little echoey, but I hear you.
Is it
Saying
worse?
something else.
Oh, it's much better. Much, much better.
Yeah, I've got my phone audio and my computer video.
Turn off the computer audio.
Mute
Mute the computer.
It
And then
is
mute your
muted
phone.
right now, I think.
No,
Yeah.
no, Charlie has to mute his computer because it's getting feedback from the phone.
Okay.
How come Charlie Buckley's on there twice?
Because he's called.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Charlie, I think you're going to have to somehow unmute your phone.
Okay, how about that now? Is that better?
There
Oh,
you
that's
go.
very
Perfect. That's
good.
perfect.
Wonderful.
I turned off the sound altogether on the computer.
Great.
Very
Even though
good.
it's muted. Okay. I'm
Great.
multitasking,
Multitasking, that's excellent.
and I don't know anything about technology.
Well, you did a wonderful job.
You got it. And by the way, Charlie, a belated happy birthday.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That's nice. Thank you.
Birthday.
Yes, belated
you.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. I can now vote and go to the liquor store. I hope we're not.
We are. We are. You can work your way out of that one.
No, I'm going to work my way into it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, looks like we have everybody on. Anybody missing? Matt, Melody, we got the commissioners here, so we're on for that. It is time to get rolling a little bit. So what I'm going to do is call this meeting to order. The Board of Commissioners regular meeting, October 13th, 2020. And before we get started, I've got a message and comment from the town clerk. Melody, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just wanted to go over a couple logistics for those participants who may not be very familiar with Zoom. Just as a reminder, your main controls are on the lower left-hand side of your computer screen. These are your audio and video controls. Just make sure to mute yourself when you're not talking and to keep your video on as we are streaming live to YouTube. Next, I just wanted to go over how the board members will be participating in this meeting. The mayor will be calling on each board member individually to provide comments and votes. If you would like to speak at any point during the meeting, please raise your hand. Please be mindful of your background when raising your hand, as you might have to bring your hand forward so that we can see it. Also, if we are in the middle of a presentation and you're raising your hand but are not being called on, please feel free to speak up. Most importantly, we want to make sure that all the board members are able to participate in this meeting fully. So if you experience any technical difficulties, just text me so that we can suspend the discussion. Next, we need to take the roll call. Please indicate if you are present. Mayor Ronald Pappas.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Brenda McMillan.
Present.
Commissioner Ann Simpson.
Present.
Commissioner Tracy Westlick.
Present.
Commissioner Pedro Mori.
Present.
Thank you. All members are present. Mayor, I'll turn the meeting back over to you.
Very good. Thank you, Melody. At this time, we'd like to all rise and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you would then remain standing for a moment of silence, please. Thank you, Nick. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Thank you, Nick. Okay, everybody's back on. So at this point in time, we're down to the adoption of the agenda. I understand that we have a couple of items that are changing on the agenda. Melody, if you want to go ahead and say where those are and where they are, or I can do it, you can do it, I guess.
Yeah, I can do it. So under E1 presentations, we have an additional item, support of breast cancer awareness. And then under H3, under new business, we have an additional item, CRTPO planning level grant application.
Very good. Are those the only items that we have then?
That's correct.
Okay, board, at this time, we'd like to have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved.
Okay, a roll call vote on this as well. Mayor Pro Tem,
Aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Aye.
Commissioner Westlick,
Aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Aye.
Very good. So we've got the new agenda adopted, so appreciate that. Thank you very much. As I understand, there are no public comments pertaining to items on the agenda under section B tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct. And also, we don't have any public comments that are general in nature either. So both of those are complete.
Okay, so you'll let me float through that one, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll move down to the consent agenda. Any changes to the consent agenda? Anybody's got anything to the agenda? Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote to adopt the consent agenda as posted. I'll do the roll call.
Motion first.
I'm sorry. Entertain motion to do that, so I'll let you do that.
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Great, thank you. No discussion. Roll call vote, please. Commissioner Morey?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McMillan?
Aye.
Commissioner Westlick?
Aye.
Commissioner Simpson?
Aye.
Great. So we have the consent agenda adopted. We're going to move down to recognitions where we don't have anything there. We're going to get right into item number E, presentations. I believe the town manager will be up first with this one.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everybody. And as everybody is well aware, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And as I believe most, if not everybody knows, Tracy, you're going through some challenges right now. And I know you've had a trying last few weeks and know that you will have some trying weeks and months ahead. But we want to tell you from the Board of Commissioners, as well as the town staff, how much we support you and how much we're thinking about you and how much of a part of Team Waxhaw that you are. We really appreciate all of your support that you have given to us as town staff to be able to effectively do our jobs. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate your guidance and leadership. And we just want you to know, from the bottom of all of our hearts, how much we love you, support you, and appreciate you. And we're here for you in your time of need, however we can help. Nick, you want to move on?
Thank you.
Uh-oh, we didn't have audio there. Well, it said go Team Waxhaw. So
Nick, what you can do when you share that, there's a checkbox to share audio with the video.
well, that's okay. We know what it said. It said go Team Waxhaw, but most importantly, this morning, we literally put this together this morning. And so we asked around, it's like, well, what can we do to help? What things can we do to that we think, well, still muted, but that's okay. What could we do to help you and just make your life a little bit easier as you start on your journey? So in the last 6 to 7 hours, we have drawn, I believe, and Melody's going to have to tell me how much it is, but now it's over $500, all in personal money. I repeat, this is coming from staff's pockets and from your Board of Commissioners pockets, some different things to help you be a little bit more comfortable as you get started on your journey. Number one, we have a $100 gift certificate from Habit Salon to have your hair done, which we understand can be a challenge sometimes as you're going through this process. A $200 gift certificate to Borka's Cleaning Service to get your house cleaned a couple of times, as well as an inspirational necklace for Manta Band with the saying, "She believed she could, so she did." And we also still have more money that has been provided, and more is coming in, by the way, as Melody has told me, just as a donation to help you out for whatever could make your life a little bit easier for a little while. So, and that all comes from contributions from the board and from your staff. So I just want to let you know, how much of a part of Team of Waxhaw you are. And we're here to support you every step of the way. If you ever need anybody to talk to, I can tell you personally, I'm always all ears.
Wow, thank y'all. I mean, it's hard for me to say anything right now because I'm about to start crying. So, but I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
You're very
Brenda,
welcome.
you wanted to say something?
I did. Just also, since we are discussing this right now, I don't know if you can see us all, but the Board of Commissioners is also wearing pink in honor of you today and in support of breast cancer awareness for you, to show our support to you as well. I know that there are a number of us, including myself, who have been touched with either friends or family members who are either going through this or who have gone through this disease. And we just want you to know that we support you. Yearly, my family makes donations to Breast Cancer Awareness Month due to my sister-in-law. And this year we will also be making a contribution in honor of you.
Thank you. And I just want to give everybody an update. My surgery went well and all the cancer has been removed. And now we're just, all my screening that came after the surgery has come back good. So now we just move on to the treatment stage to make sure that it doesn't come back. So that's where we're at, but so far so good. Thank you, everyone, for everything.
That's awesome. And when you drive by Town Hall next time, we put in pink light bulbs that shine up on the Town Hall sign. So
All right.
we did
I can
that.
actually start driving today, so that's
Yeah.
good.
And also, we've tried to get a decent pink hue on the water tower as well.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that's good to share. Thank you. And thank you, Tracy, for also letting us be part of your journey as well and sharing that and kind of giving, tidbits of your journey along the way to the residents in the town as well for some support from there too. So I'm sure now that they know a little bit of the background on why we have pink lights everywhere, they can reflect back on this meeting tonight and understand why. So we're here for you. We'll just adjust whatever we have to adjust as you go through this. You just let us know how. So appreciate it.
All right, thank you. And I will be a big advocate now in the days ahead too for all the other women that are out there fighting. We have other local women that are going through the same thing right now. So thinking of all of them and just making sure that everybody is aware of the signs and what to look for and genetic testing and all those things that go into this. So I will be a big supporter of the whole movement now. So thank you.
Terrific. Well, thank you again for sharing. And we wish you well, as you know. All right, any other comments on this segment from anybody that's on the screen right now? No further, then I'm going to move down. We have nothing under public hearings tonight. We have no old business tonight. We're going to move down to item H, new business. And Jeff, I think you're up for the approval of resolution 202017. It's an authorization of the advertisement of the offer to purchase real property. So Jeff, your screen.
Thank you, Mayor. So to facilitate the sale of town-owned property at 216 West North Main Street, the town is utilizing the negotiated offer, advertisement, and upset bid procedure as described in the North Carolina General Statutes. The town has received an offer to purchase said property, which is also identified as the Nivens Price Building, in the amount of $1,230,000. The town has received the required 5% deposit of the purchase price from the buyer. In order to move forward, the Board of Commissioners must authorize the advertisement of the purchase and allow for the bid to be upset. The notice is scheduled for circulation on October 15th. That would set the deadline at October 25th to receive an upset bid. If no additional bid is received, then the board may authorize the sale of the property at its next scheduled meeting. If the bid is upset, then we would start the process over again. And it's also something that I need to acknowledge as the board that can at any time reject any and all offers anywhere in the process. But the recommended motion tonight is to adopt resolution 2020-017, declaring surplus property and authorizing the advertisement of an offer to purchase real property owned by the town of Waxhaw. And I'll certainly be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Okay, generally, any questions on this for the town manager? Okay, hearing none, we have before us a request for a motion to declare the described property as surplus and authorize the town clerk to publish a notice and offer of purchase for said property. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Very good. So we have a motion to approve the request. And so I'm going to go through a roll call vote, please. Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Aye.
Commissioner Westlake.
Aye.
Commissioner Morey.
Aye.
And Commissioner Simpson.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. The motion passes. So we'll look forward to moving that along, Jeff. So keep us posted on anything you might need from us.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, next up is we have some discussion on the award of downtown Central Park, as we're calling it, master plan update contract. We have Dina Sabinski to join us here tonight. She's not on yet. There she is, coming up. And Dina, with that, I'm going to pass the screen over to you as soon as you go live.
There we go.
There you are. The screen is yours, so you can start.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. It takes me just a minute to find all my controls. There it is. All right. So tonight we're going to discuss about updating the master plan for the downtown park. First, I wanted to give you some background information and then kind of walk you through the process of the update and how we got to our selection. And then, of course, anytime during the presentation, I can't see all of y'all on the little squares. So just holler out and I'll stop and answer questions. All right, awesome.
I'll usually see their hands come up, so I'll try to watch that as well.
Thank you. Okay, so why update? First, I wanted to do a shout out to the original plan. It's wonderful bones, but it's time to kind of bring it up to date. And what we're doing is basically updating the concept plan, the public input, the phasing, the cost analysis that goes with it, updating some infrastructure that wasn't quite addressed in the first plan, and then getting us ready for grant and funding like coming up because we're ready to move. So I wanted to give you a little bit of background on the plan itself. So they had a kickoff meeting for this master plan in 2014. So that's a little while ago. And then had public responses in October 14. And then again, public responses in 15. And then construction cost is in this plan in July of 16. And then the final plan got adopted in April of 17. So with going out for funding, especially very grants that are highly sought after, you need the most updated plan to help you get your point system up and help you understand what the community is needs and wants at this moment in time. So with that said, again, great bones, and we're going to take these bones from this plan and to update it into what our needs are now for Waxhaw. Stewart is the company who were the consultants on this plan, and it also didn't include the community corner. So as y'all know, we're all about connectivity. So we're trying to connect all of our public spaces to flow better, especially if they're downtown. And to keep with that, the update will include the community corner. Any questions at this point? Awesome.
Go ahead, go forward.
Okay. Next, so the plan, the strategic master plan, we just got finished up last year. And what that did was to tell us basically our marching orders. It gives us what we have in inventory. It also gives us what the citizens have like top on their mind of what they would like to see first by priorities. The downtown park was a very top priority for our citizens through all the public engagements and with the survey that went out for the whole town, which we got really good feedback on. So like the top things that came out of that was infrastructure of the parks that we already have open, which we've been knocking those out each year. I mean, we're getting those done. And then there our downtown park. We've been sitting on this for a little bit, so it was time for everybody wanting to get that project started. And this strategic master plan for the entire town helped us kind kind of civil, solid, get that into a solid plan to help us move forward. So our strategic plan, I work off that plan weekly. Like that's on my side table. I'm checking things off as we move forward. So with our updated master plan, this is a working, we're going to get stuff done. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So that is another reason why to update the plan as well. Any questions about that slide? Awesome. How we came and how we got the process. So it's probably a little bit too small for you to see from the screen, but what we did was had a scoring process off of the RFP that I sent out of what the proposals need to be coming back to us. So with this scoring sheets, we worked with the PCR group, our committee, also town staff, including Park and Rec, and I brought in Jeff and Matt Hubert and Blair to kind of give me like a overall of where we were at, and did the scoring system with them. And they also gave us insight on the team gave insight on who better met the needs with the proposal. So as you see on the slide, sent out the RFP in September, September 1st actually. And then we had question and answer time where the people who would like to give a proposal gave me questions to answer. They had concerns or they just needed more clarification. And then that time was over, and then the proposals were due on the 25th. That following week, we did the scoring system, and then came to the decision that Benish was the top company that came in with the best fit of understanding of what we asked for, followed all the directions on what the proposal was, and also can work there. They had the best concept of getting us through the process in a timely manner and on budget. So all these things, of course, played a part in picking them. Any questions about this slide?
Who actually chooses? Who makes that decision?
So this was a group decision. So we narrowed it down to 3, and then it came down to Benish. So this was
Who was the group?
So again, it was the PCR, our committee, and then the Park and Rec team, and Matt, Jeff, and Blair were other staff members that had input.
I see Brenda also has a question.
Dina?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
My question is, Brenda, can I go first, please?
Go ahead.
Thanks. Brenda, can you just back up a little bit and maybe give us the key points of what the RFP asks were or what the requirements were?
Give me 2 seconds so I can get my RFP out. So with the RFP, we went through a scoring system that basically went through what I was asking for on each kind of stage and what information I needed back. So information that was requested was basically, we have the bones of the previous plan, we have the updated strategic plan, and we needed to give an update on how we need to be grant ready and update the plan and funding and concept to go to the next stage for CIP and funding. So all those things were put into the RFP, and then we scored them on how well they answered those questions.
I guess my question is what were the asks in the RFP? Was there like a bullet point, or do you have like a checklist of what we asked them to do? So, you know, to take the existing plan and update it. You know, I'm just looking kind of for each particular item that was, what are the bullet points that were the key points of the RFP? Like, we asked them to assess the old plan and come up with a new plan. We asked them to be ready for us to go to grants. I just kind of want to know what were the key things that we're looking for in the RFP from these companies.
So we asked for them to be able to conduct public meetings, to conduct meetings with the BOC and the PCR. We asked them to do surveys. We asked them to give a concept plan and updated budget. We also asked them to help us with the phasing, because we know that as much as we all wish for, we won't be able to do the complete park in one time. We're going to have to do it in phases. So that was also put in there. And then basically to use the bones of the previous plan and to understand what where we're at now in Waxhaw with their strategic plan, combined all that information to get us for the next stage. The extra was on there is the connection of the community corner to tie in, so we can have a better connectivity of downtown, and that we are, I mean, that's over and over, that's the goal that I keep hearing from the BOC, is to have that connectivity and make sure that we're tying in. So that was a major plus on getting it updated as well.
Dina, just something for consideration. I know like in the past, there was some talk with during different boards and things about selling the community corner. What happens if that comes forward in the future? I mean, because right now, I mean, it's a great asset for what we have, but who knows what the future holds or what we may or may not do on that particular parcel. If we don't keep it as a community corner and if something else happens, I mean, is there some caveat to the plan for this?
So as you know, plans, they can change, but having a plan and having the kind of our marching orders to see how to lay our CIP out. So the CIP comes back to y'all, and you know, staff is here to help guide and give you information to make sure you have the most current information to, you know, make awesome decisions for Waxhaw, right? So I understand as much it would pain me to lose it, but I understand that that's a possibility, because economic driver is another thing that I do a part of my job as well. So, but at least us having a direction to go in, and not let it like float out there, and have it on something so we can look forward to it. As we all know, phase one is probably a lot of infrastructure. With the grant money, what we would do is to get some cool amenities with it, but a lot of it is going to be infrastructure to get us set up for the next two phases. And I don't see phase one touching the community corner quite yet, just because we need to get boots on the ground downtown and in the downtown park area. But having a direction on that area, and I you know, we can get excited about it, and you know, it might happen. So
Right. Thanks, Dina, and I'll thank you, Commissioner McMillan, for letting me go first. I appreciate that.
Can I follow up on that for a quick moment, Mayor?
If you would, please.
It doesn't, if we do some planning there on the community corner, it doesn't obligate the board to have to do that on that piece of property, but we thought it would behoove all of us to see what we could do with that other than it just being a gravel lot. So this was the opportunity for us to really explore how that could work in relation to the other 9+ acres there, and how it can work in concert to give us really a better feel and better idea for if that is the direction that we will want to go with that, or if an opportunity comes along to sell it or something in between, we would at least have a good idea of what it could be if we wanted to keep it in town possession moving forward. And then another thing that I will mention too, as far as being competitive for grants, and this is one of the things that's really important when you update these plans, like Partif in particular, they require you to have public input. That's a requirement of the plan, which is why that is programmed into the approach and their schedule. And also in this particular schedule, you'll see that there is a time exclusively for the consultant to work with the Board of Commissioners at one of your scheduled November meetings, probably in the work session or some venue like that, to get your thoughts and ideas on it as well. You know, and also if there's opportunities out there in the federal realm, they usually require the same type of input, not only from the governing body, but also from the citizens as well. So it puts you in a better place. And it's a bit surprising to me too, as to how, I guess, recent they require your plan updates to be. So that's another part of it with this as well. So you know, this really gets us into position to actually deliver, is really what the bottom line is here. You know, we've got a great comprehensive plan. This Stewart, I believe, was the name of the company that did the initial, and as I understand it, had a lot of wants, had a lot of things in there. And that's something that we needed, well, even outside of grant opportunities, I think probably something that we needed to revisit anyway, moving forward, since it had been several years and a lot of new folks, new leadership, and a lot of new people moved into town too, quite frankly, since the last time that it was done. So just wanted to add those thoughts in there.
You know, quick question. I'm hearing grants and federal funding. Well, how much are we applying for? What is the size of the grants in total?
So the big one that I would like to apply for, which I would be coming to you in January or soon after this plan is adopted, is the North Carolina Partif grant, and it's $500,000. But it's a match. So we would have to put in $500,000. But we all know that first phase is going to be up there, so that's okay. And then I'm looking into federal grants. It's called the LWCF, and because of the land area, we could possibly get some grant funding for that. Those are a little bit lower. They can go up to 300. And then there's smaller grants out there, like for a playground or for, you know, you can I guess, you know, piecemeal it out a little bit, but the big ones is a point system. And honestly, if you don't have every point that you could possibly get on it, it's so competitive. It's hard getting them.
Okay.
Very
Ms.
good.
Brandon?
Okay. I'm going to let Mayor Pro Tem, you had your hand up a while back, so the floor is yours.
A couple of the questions have already been asked by either Commissioner Simpson or Commissioner Maury. But I am also interested in seeing more of what's going to happen during the phasing plan of this, which I'm not seeing too much information. And I'm also interested in finding out more about the other participants or the other people who were part of sending in the finalists for the RFPs to see exactly what went on. I think what I'm looking for in this, because we're always doing consultants and we have hired people to do these things before, especially with the park system, is something a little more concrete in moving forward with this plan. A little more specifics in what is going to entail, a little more action detail oriented, as opposed to more paperwork, more planning, more consultants. And I don't know that I'm seeing that with this company. Now, we've used this company before. Am I correct, Dina, that we've used this
Yes.
company? Yes. We
Yes,
have
ma'am.
used this company before.
Yes, ma'am. They were, they did our comprehensive, our strategic plan that kind of
Right.
helped bring everything together.
Right.
And
So with that, I'm still seeing a lot of the same that they did from before or that was really incorporated, but not anything that's really more out of the box and forward thinking with the growth and how to do that and how to move forward and how it's going to be staged and planned, as opposed to more of what I read from what they did before. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
I've got the timeline. Let me go over that little piece for you, and then I can elaborate on each stage of it. Is it okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So the orientation, it would happen next week, because it would be, we're on a very tight deadline. In the end, we would like to get everything to you at the work session meeting on January the 26th. And between now and then, it would be November the 2nd through the 23rd. We would go over site concept plans to kind of get the overview of those bones, and then what our strategic plan tells us what is needed for the area, the updated information. And then we go work with the PCR, have a meeting with them. Then we get a community input the week of the 16th of November. Then we come to y'all for a work session. And this is really critical, where we're working at a work session with you on your wants and needs for the update and what you feel like needs the phasing and what comes first, because it's very critical that we get your information at this point. So when we're setting up the next set of concept plans, we can take all that information and then go from that point. Then from November 30th through January, we update the site plans and update the community input. We do another community input on the 11th of January, and then come to y'all back at the end of January at our work session with the PCR being there as well to help any other update information that you feel that is needed. So, for example, when we updated the strategic master plan, the work sessions worked really well. I got like 3 pages of notes coming off those meetings to help kind of guide us on your priorities. And the same thing would happen here. So knowing that, we've got some infrastructure bones with that first plan, we know what the priorities are with the strategic plan, and I work off that plan. That plan does not collect dust. And I think that is another challenging pieces with the plans that we have. But that's, since I've been here, that's the only one that I've personally done. And that was the whole purpose, is for it not to collect dust. It's to check stuff off. This plan gets us shovel ready to start phasing. So the way I had it like imagine is we get to ready plan and it's ready, set, go. Like I'm going to ask for us to go for a part of grant, and then other grants that are available, and then we move forward. And the part of grants due in May. They tell us by the end of September if we got it or not, and then we are prime and ready we've never received a part of grant. Waxhaw's never received one, and this is a beautiful project to get done, and they want to have the commission wants to have it, part of stamp on Waxhaw. So I think, everything is kind of lining up for us to move forward and get first phase done.
I think we all can appreciate, nobody just wants to do more plans and more this and that without anything delivered. This will, the answer to your question, Brenda, is what Banesh will provide here will be a product that can bring us delivery. I mean, it puts us into a position to get grants, number one, if we want to go that route, which we would, but it'll also put us into position number two to program it into our upcoming capital improvement plan. And then, of course, we took that first step earlier this evening towards acquiring some cash to begin to develop that plan. And we still have some process to go there. But as we continue to go down that road and acquire that ability to do that, then we'll be able to take that and utilize this update to this plan to begin to invest in that phasing, whether it be through the grant process or we just use our own monies or something in between. It'll get us to the point where we know where we're going. We've got the input and the required things that we need to make our, as Dina talks about with the points, part of the point system is, did you have public input? How many meetings did you have? That's all part of it. Some other simpler things are, have you applied before? And if the answer is no, you get points, more points than you would for somebody that has already applied before. And so that's another example. But this will put us into position to be able to actually start doing some work.
Tracy, I believe you had a question.
Yes, I just a little bit to expand on what's been discussed here. One thing that I didn't see in your scorecard was actual design from these firms. I know you said we're using the backbone of the previous plan, but was there an opportunity for these designers to show something unique or creative that they could add to this park? Because this is going to be our flagship park, and I want to make sure that we're using a designer that can make this the best park in Union County. So did they have that opportunity? Were you able to see other parks that they have designed?
Yes, ma'am. And also they're bringing in another architect with them too to help with those concept plans. Is YCH, and we actually we just got to know them through another process. So they did give us several project examples, and understanding that they're not cookie cutter,
Mm-hmm.
and it will be it would be designed for us, for Waxhaw. And that's, you know, all the multicolors that we are and all the history. And that again helped, you know, help with that decision as well.
I think all the things that I'm hearing that of what the board's expectations are, I think that's what you share with this firm at your meeting coming up that is exclusively for you in November. And of course, if you wanted to, at the public input sessions as well, because that's what this is about, is for them to gain this input and then incorporate that into what they design. So, you know, part of that will be is whatever ideas the board has. So I would definitely say, you know, if that's what you're looking for, you know, something that is unique and something that really, I mean, is the showcase for the town, then, you know, we relay that to Banesh as part of this process and see how it turns out.
Well, that's why I just think that we want to make sure that obviously they're capable of designing the type of thing we're looking for. We're so seeing examples of things that have been done in the past could give us an indication of their type of design. So that was kind of the thing I wanted to see is what they've done in the past. But you're saying this would come through some architect that's not with
So
the
it's
company.
both. Yeah, no, it's
Mhm.
both. So they what they do is some companies bring in, it's like specialized like teammates to come in, and they would help out with the concept plan and to get it to a level where we can actually do budget numbers to it. So another big thing is to update the cost estimates to get us to phase 1 and possibly phase 2, so we can have that understanding through grant funding, CIP. All these kind of things are puzzle pieces that is needed to get us in a good place to get the park done.
Dina, are they on tonight?
I do believe John is watching or on with us. Nick, do you see John Wood?
Doesn't look like we have them on the screen tonight.
No John Wood tonight, sorry.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, I know you have a couple of questions. You just still have a couple more? Because after this, I'd like to weigh in myself.
No, I'll defer for the moment.
Yeah, just want to weigh in if I could on this. So what I'm understanding here, where we're going, went through the process that we budgeted for earlier this year. And much of this is an update so that we can get a grant. We can be grant ready, for one, is what I'm hearing. Dina, can you tell me when the grant submittal deadline is? You said that maybe once, but I missed it.
No worries. It is in May. So the 1st of May, we have to submit basically this big old book binder of all information about the park, because they have it's a big checklist of point systems that we have to fill out. And there's all the supporting documents that go along with that. So all 3 of these documents would be a part of it as supporting documents. And then we have to like the concept plan, the budget, the ask, and the public input are the big point items.
Okay, and I think that we've kind of agreed on before, we should always be ready to go it alone with or without the grant. We know that the grant be helpful, whatever we can get to offset our costs on it. It's certainly, you know, if we got both of those at the maximum amounts, we're looking at maybe $800,000 if we got 2 grants. So, but this will certainly cost much more than that. We're going to be in the, you know, low millions. I want the board to also understand that this is a stepping process, and it looks like, again, part of this expenditure is an update and then getting us ready to be ready to apply for the grants. We have to have these certain things done. The other part of it is certainly the public input process, but the more important part for all of us to recognize is we have the say of what goes on that property right now. So that scope of work will be honed in and defined as we go through this process. They're not just coming to us and saying, here it is, and build it. You know, we're going to look at what their presentations are, but we also have to play a part in giving them the scope of work and giving them an idea of what our expectation is on the spend, on the budget. So if we have, for sake of conversation, a $5 million limit on it, then they're going to have to design to that 5 million because of our ability to pay for it. So, you know, it'd be nice to have a $20 million park over there, but I don't think that's very realistic in where we're going and what we have available. So I would expect from them to work very closely with us. And part of this spend on this study right now is to not only, again, hone in, making us, if you will, grant ready, and then really dialing in with us and our public input sessions to really look at what we want and what we can put on the ground. So there's lots of parts to this. And I think the control part that we're all concerned about is, you know, what input does the board have to this whole process? And the whole process, we do control what goes in that park. So nothing's going to move forward without us approving it. So I'm not, you know, I'm not worried about that, so to speak, because we want to have them bring the plan. If we don't like their plan, then I guess the only thing that we would have to look at to see if we have a disengagement. If we can't get past first base with them, then I would want to then obviously look at another opportunity. But if we think we can work with these people and bring it up, and if they bring us a plan in the first blush that we like, that incorporates all the, we'll call it modern things that we've seen around us, then I'd say from my standpoint, a recommendation would be to at least move forward with this and at least get the first parts done. Again, town manager and the Parks and Rec director are gonna have to let us know. I haven't scrolled all the way down on the agreement, but I would certainly want an out clause, I guess, if you could.
Okay.
Any, Jeff, do you have, or Jeff or Dina, you have any comment on that?
Yeah, let's see. So their proposed budget's $28,750 that came in from the RFP. But I'm sure, you know, that'll be scoped in, you know, and you know, paid for as we go along. So I'm sure we could put some kind of clause in there that would be, I guess, an escape hatch per se if we're not happy with how the process is going. I don't think that would be a problem.
If we're putting that in as an out, I just want to interject for one moment. Can it be also at different levels of different stages of the phasing? Not, you know, they have to get so far into the process. So if we get through the first phasing stage or the second phasing stage and we don't see it's going the right direction, but at each level that we would have that opportunity, not, you know, at a certain point and have to still pay, you know, even more money.
Yep, we can do that.
Of course, the phasing and the design, I mean, that's again goes to the scope. So we could take it to a level 1, if you will, on a scope and say, okay, we're going to look at the infrastructure and the, like say, the grading and clearing plan. That could be one level of the scope. The next scope goes to then design. If we're happy with the site layout, then we would give them the authorization to go forward to the next part of it, which would be start to place the amenities from the information that we get from the public input sessions and from the board's discussion as well. Is that how you would see it, Jeff and Dina?
Yeah, the first part of it, they would have to get that input from the citizens and from the board. And then I would see they would get to the point where they would start placing amenities on the property after those initial input sessions, which they've got scheduled first with the public, and then with the Parks Committee, and then with the town board, and all of that really within a month and a half from today, with your second meeting in November being their planned time to meet with the board to get your input. Then they've got pretty much over the holidays to update the site plan and program all of that input from the board and the public. Another round of public input, and then that would come back to the board for your approval. I mean, it has to, well, I mean, number one, it has to be approved by the board anyway, but I mean, that's another thing that the grants look for. I mean, do you have an adopted plan? You know, what do you have programmed in there on the property? You know, what are the bells and whistles, the specific amenities that you are asking for? And in order to ask for whatever we are asking for that would come out of that park, it has to be shown on a plan. You know, this is what we're doing. This is where we're doing it. I don't think you can submit, well, for example, I don't think you can submit a part of application and just say, well, I want a greenway, I want a playground, and, you know, I want a shelter, and not have it as part of any kind of planning or programming process.
It's very specific. So it would be a set item or area that we're going for that grant for. And so the concept, you have to have a clear concept plan to even go for part of. So all these lines, there will be no blurred lines on this. We will know exactly where we would do stages at and the phasing. And in the end, it will come down to the phasing and the funding.
I have a question. I just want to make sure that I'm clear and understanding what this is. So Benish would essentially make us a plan that we can use to apply for grants. When would we go out? Because they're just the design piece or the architecture piece, if you will. And then we would take all that information and then would have to send out an RFP to start the build.
So for example, so this is like the first part of it. So you go through this part, get the updated plan, and then after we just settled on the phases and you understand the budget that goes along with it, if we don't have to have design build at that time until we can hear back from Partif. So when we hear back from Partif in September of 21, then we're like, yay, we got the grant. And then you go for the design part of it. We could use the same company, or we go out to an RFP and then do the proposals back again. And we just learned all the different ways that you can do those proposals. Jeff knows it a little bit, terms a little bit better for me than me. It's the hard bid, or you can do bid design, and the construction one was the other one. So
there's design, bid, build, construction manager at risk, several other different methods.
And that's when you go into actually boots on the ground and getting it done.
Hey guys, so John Wood was able to join us. He's on the line. John, do you want to say anything about this?
John, I think it would be very helpful for the board if they just learned a little bit more about you and your firm.
Well, good evening. It's good to see a few of you again, those that I got to know during the system-wide planning process. And so I've been listening all along. I apologize. I realized that for Zoom, it shows up as Kelly Simpkins because she's our marketing coordinator. And I used her credentials to run a 2-hour workshop a few weeks ago. So her name's still in there. All good questions, all good dialogue. You know, I think that the big thing here is we certainly did the system-wide plan, and we do a lot of system-wide plans. We do a lot of detailed park master plans. We do a lot of construction design on parks all over the Carolinas. We just, we did a master plan for Tanya over in the city of Monroe last year for the expansion of Elk Tonawanda Park. Prepared a PARTF grant application for her, and we were able to secure about $450,000 in grant funding 2 weeks ago when they announced all the PARTF grants. So it is a very competitive grant process, and we try to start with even going back to the strategic master plans to make sure that we give the municipality every chance to put points in the application, current planning, and make sure that we get as many of those points as possible. So we've looked at the big picture, and as Commissioner McMillan noted, a lot of paper involved in the strategic plan because you're looking at such a high level. Now we're zooming down to a specific park. There's still some paper involved, but there's going to be more design, more site plans that you'll get to see, touch and feel, look at pretty elements, look at functional elements, look at how the park can phase in, both from a monetary standpoint, but functionally, so that we're putting things in the ground or proposing things so that as each phase goes in, you're not coming back and interrupting that previous phase to do it. There are enough changes that have occurred since the 2017 plan that PARTF would say this is probably a new plan. We still we're just basically adding an update on top of the plan we have, but you've added in the community corner, we've added a lot of connectivity from the downtown area, and then potentially some other properties that could be in play in making this a really good doable plan. Plus you now have taken the next step on your public works by getting ready to relocate it here in the next couple of years. So that frees up that corner of the park, which was in the 2017 plan. Now that can be pulled in. So once again, back out for some public involvement because that needs to be more current, and some surveys that are specific to the PARTF project. We did a great job with the surveys in the system-wide plan, but now we're going to zero in, and they will look for that in the PARTF reviews. So as Dina showed, it's a pretty compressed schedule because we're trying to get an approved plan by the end of January that then gives Dina gives you February, March, April to prepare that PARTF application and get it in by May 1.
Mr. Wood, I have a question for you. So when you get done with your part in your plan, are we able to take this and say, build it because this is what we have? I mean, is it that type of a plan that we can say, here it is, and we bring it to the construction people and say, this is what we want, now build it?
It takes you up to the beginning of the actual detailed design process. So this plan is going to determine what is in that first phase, and then it'll give you be able to move into a schematic, as we would call it, a schematic design phase, a design development phase, and then your construction documents that you take out for permitting and bidding. You'll have in between this master plan that we'll finish up, there'll be some other things that have to be done. Site survey, so that you get all the topography, all the utilities, everything that's out there, to which now you'd move into your detailed design. You're not going to take it out and just hand it to a contractor at this point. The master plan, you still have to go through that next step. But this gets the plan in that everybody will work from now to take that next design phase forward.
So essentially, this is just a conceptual plan. When we get done with this, then we take it into a design and more of an architectural point, and then we would take it into the infrastructure and then the construction phase.
Yeah, I mean, we would view it more as a more detailed master plan. I mean, we'll start out in the process with concepts, and then it'll actually, I mean, you'll be able to see all the elements that'll be in there. They should be located pretty well where we're going to put them. And then, and the part of the reason we added YCH to the team was that for any of the architectural structures that may come out of this plan, we wanted to get a little bit of vision done on those, to start looking at some elevations that might, talk about the Waxhaw character. It's another component of the PARTF plan to be able to submit some footprints and some elevations along with just the master plan. So there's still another big step of all the actual design where, you know, you're physically laying out, physically grading and determining what actually is being demolished, what is being saved. And that's what then goes to the contractors to bid and build.
I see that Mayor Pro Tem has a comment.
So what you're saying, you said this is a more detailed master plan. So in response to Commissioner Simpson's question, then the answer would be no, because then this is a more just detailed master plan and we then still have to go out for everything else. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. You would not be able to, in the compressed schedule we're showing, you would not, you know, be able to get all that detailed design done in 4 months. That's probably a 6 to 8 month process to take it through that. I mean, once you know, and you don't, and what you want to do is you don't want to spend the time now going through all the detailed design to try to get your Part-TIF grant. You want to go ahead and use, be efficient with the master plan to get that. And then you still have time. You have then, once you get a Part-TIF grant, you've got 3 years to design it and build it. So I guess the short answer is this is not a set of documents that you're going to hand to a contractor and they're going to go out and build it. But it is a plan that we can go after the grants with, and we can use it as the building block as we phase each plan, each phase in. And right now we think that they can be done in 3 phases.
Mayor Pro Tem, you have another comment and question?
And my question then is to Dina. Is she still on?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you went to do the RFP for this, for the park plan now, were you looking for someone who was going to actually be able to move forward with the staging, phasing, and building process of this park, or were you just looking for someone who would allow you to move forward with the grant process?
I was looking for someone with our budget restraints as well that could get us to the point of planning our CIP and possible funding using grants to get us through each phase.
Okay, so you were looking for someone who was going to help in moving us forward to the grant stage, but not forward any further as far as the development phasing stage for the parks or design.
Not with the design part.
Okay.
Not like construction document. I think.
Okay, but just to get you to the grant stage, that's what you were looking for in the RFP.
In the RFP, yes, ma'am.
That's one of the reasons, Brenda, that they give you time on the back end, the 3 years, you know, once they give you the award, because they're not expecting you to have a, you know, the full design that you can hand to the contractor without knowing if you're going to get the grant funding. So that gives you, if you know you're getting the grant funding and you know what budget you're working with as programmed in from a company like Benesh, then that gives you the ability to move forward within that 3-year time frame that you have to spend that money. It's basically within 3 years you have to have completed your design and then completed, I don't know if it's beginning or actually completing the construction within 3 years, but one or the other.
We need to be finishing up reporting for the grant.
Okay, so all of this is in the hopes that we get the grant. And if we don't get the grant, then we just have this that we can move forward with something else again, or we have to start all over.
No, ma'am. So you don't have to start all over. So, but this helps us. So we know now that our CIP and what funding we need for each stage. So this gives us better numbers so y'all can make awesome decisions on what funding goes into each stage. Or it would tell, we know the funding that needed, but then we have to figure out, you know, okay, do we have to take something off to make phase 1 happen, or do, you know, so it's all going to come back to the BOC to kind of help us move forward. But this is a great way for us to get that collective information up to date, and ready to put boots on the ground?
I think the simplest way to describe it is that you're deciding what you want on that property through this process. You are making in essence, a final decision as to how you want that property shaped, how you want that property designed, what amenities do you want on the property, whether your focus is more on passive recreation, more on active recreation, or more in between that. If you want to invite other entities or organizations to have opportunity on that property, how much parking area do you want to have, which would be based on what type of amenities that you have. Those are the type of things that you would be deciding on. And then we take that, and if we get a grant, great, we're moving forward and we're getting to the delivery stage. And if not, then, we program it in within our capital improvement plan, and we do as much of it as we can. The board would then decide, what priority this is in all of the other projects. And if it's a top priority, then we decide how much we want to invest based on the estimates that we get from phasing from Banesh as to what we can try to take down through the monies that we have.
I just want to give you guys just a little feedback from this whole presentation. I feel like it would have been better if we had gotten a timeline of like the meeting dates and that was presented to us, and to have it up there. This meeting would have been this, would have been that, would have been that, would have been very helpful for this. The other piece would to be able to have some sort of steps in the process to actually getting a park built. So if this is like the step one, that this is more the conceptual part, that we're going to take this document to apply for grants. And once we get the grants, and then we need to move to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. Like, I think if we had a better understanding of where this falls in the whole total process of getting a park built, I think that would have been helpful, because I think that those are some of the clarifying questions that we're all asking is, how does this fit into the piece of the puzzle? Where does this fall in the step? So we need this step and this plan put together so we can go out and get the grant money to identify what's going in the park, and then get the grant money that we need. And then we'll have to go out and do the designing and then the building, and we'll phase that as construction goes forward. So, I mean, that information would have been, I think, very helpful. And I think that's where a lot of these clarifying questions and where we're going down, I think, in terms of from the board.
I concur with Commissioner Simpson, because I think that would have been that would have been more helpful for us in moving forward and understanding exactly how this is moving as opposed to what we did receive.
Understood. We appreciate the feedback.
Yes.
Okay, and just an additional comment again to try to circle back on this stuff. In a project total, what we want to be careful of is not confusing phasing with phasing of the development schedule and phasing of a construction schedule. Two very, very different things. So we want to understand this. What we're going through right now, and based on what I'm hearing again, we're going through basically what we call affectionately the design phase, and design and budget. So we're going to have our wants, needs, desires, and can-dos identified through this initial process. Once we get that, then we can move to next steps, would be starting to do the engineering of that. So you would then start to start the process on your construction documents. Those documents would be the ones that you would send out to bid when they're complete. So there is a long process in the design work alone. The preliminary design work, which we're looking at here, is only a part of the process of getting construction documents. Once we get to the design phase and the amenity phase and the scope of what we actually can put in that park, then we can move to more of the design phase. We'll engineer it to fit. And there's going to be adjustments along the way as well, because we may do some discovery, as we may even do some soundings or anything like that on the property that may cause us to change our direction. But the direction is to go forward with the development of this property in construction phasing and in development phasing. So there's two parts of it that and all of it's going to be based on our budget, on what we can afford to spend on it. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to that and not confusing the phasing with the design phasing and the construction phasing, because from this point, from today, we could still be an easy 2 years out before we get everything we want done on this stuff. Hopefully it's earlier than that, but it could still be that. And that's what I'm talking about the end product being, phase 1 open of the park, whatever we decide that's going to be. So again, this is a process that part if we get that, that's great. I'd love to have it, but we have all decided that we're going to go forward on this thing. When money becomes available, we're going to move forward with or without part if. So that's not going to hold us up. If we get part if, great. It's extra money to offset our costs on this stuff. So hopefully that kind of circles a very long trip this evening with it. And maybe we could have done it a little bit differently, but I think we're at least at the point right now, unless there's other questions, I think we're at the point right now of having understanding with what this particular process is going to do for us by making a choice tonight or not on what the process or who we're going to use. So from that, I'm going to still open it up to any more questions that we have out there. Anybody's hand? Okay, I see none. So that's this.
Dina, have any comments? Anything else they want to add?
Jeff, Dina, you're open to make any comments as well.
No other comment for me. Well, I guess I do have one just popped in my head, but yeah, I guess one thing to stress is when we do this planning for this is the people need to know out there that we've got to make a plan that's realistic. We can't just jam all kinds of things into a piece of property like that. We have to be very mindful, and we want to do some really great cool things and have some great ideas programmed in there, but we also have to be able to do it with what we realistically can spend on it. So we just have to keep that in mind as we're moving forward.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. So I think what we're looking for tonight is one of several things. Obviously, we're going to look for a motion to award the contract as it is right now. We'll make a motion to either award the contract with some modifications to it or requests. We either motion to maybe postpone the decision and move it forward, or make a motion to deny. So commissioners, it's up to you right now. Do I have a motion for an action?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Benish for the purpose of updating the downtown Central Park master plan and authorize the town manager to enter into agreement contract with Benish with the following conditions, with a mutual release clause added. Not that we anticipate that using that, but we'll just both have that just in case.
Okay, you've heard the motion on that. Any discussion from the commissioners? Okay, don't see any hands out there, so we're going to do a roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem.
Quick question on that motion. The added clause you stated, the release clause, could you read that part again, please?
With the following condition, a mutual release clause.
Now, is that mutual release clause at any point during the work?
Yes.
Okay. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Westlake.
Aye.
Commissioner Moray.
Aye.
And Commissioner Simpson.
Aye.
Very good. All right, the motion passed. If I could just again give instruction to the staff to make sure that we have a mutual release clause. We just want to make sure that we're going to be able to go down the roads that we want to go down. So that's the instruction back to you for tonight. So thank you very much for the presentation. I know it was a long haul and a lot of questions, but again, we'll look at this as a real positive experience and moving forward to getting something in the ground out there. So thank you very much. Dina, thank you for your time and effort on it.
Thank you.
No worries, and thank
And,
you.
John, thank you for jumping in and listening. I appreciate you being here tonight.
I
So
appreciate it.
we'll try to move forward, and I'm sure you'll work with the Parks and Rec director and the town manager to get this done.
We will, and I look forward to working with all of you as well.
Very good. Okay, I think the next item up is the new item number 3, the CRTPO planning level grant application. I think, Matt, you're up on that one, if you will.
I believe that will be Matt and Theo.
Okay, Matt and Theo, if Theo would jump on too, but Matt, if you're on, you can take over the mic.
Very good. Thank you, everybody. Good evening. So if we can get that presentation up. Basically, I'm bringing, well, I don't know if you've ever heard of a grant, but I'm bringing an application for a grant before the board. This one is for the downtown origin and destination study. And I'll go into a little detail about exactly what that is. I'll wait for this screen to give me control. There we go. Usually a little delay. And come on down. All right. So basically, what is an origin destination study? It's a study that involves, it's a higher level traffic data study where we make specific, they basically set up license plate monitoring cameras at strategic locations in the study area that not only show, you know, how many cars and what movements they're making, but when are they coming into the area and when are they leaving? And by doing this, we can tell how many cars are just going through the area because that's the only option they have, like downtown, or how many cars are coming to actually participate in the activities and the services that we offer downtown. And so basically what we want to try and do is have a better level of data so that the assumptions we are making with the previous kinds of counts, we can have more confidence in as we are making, I think, more and more higher level decisions based on assumptions. And we want to try and get away. We want our assumptions to be much better confidence level. So what we're talking about here is being able to take these numbers and do better analysis, both for the previous forecasts that have been given to us by DOT for, say, the grade separated crossing of 75 over to Waxhaw Marvin Road. Also very helpful in the decisions we have before us in the improvements that are proposed at NC 16 and 75. And then beyond that, any TIAs in the area, any other projects that are in that sphere of influence, if you will, would also benefit from being able to have these better percentages to add into the volumes that are projected. And so what we're talking about at the end of the day is a $60,000 study. Some of that money is just for the survey itself, and some of it is for the analysis that we do following the survey. So it's not just the survey itself, but there is a couple levels of analysis we'll do right out of the gate. It is an 80-20 cost share, so at the end of the day, we'd be looking for $12,000 in local funds to complete that level of study. So the schedule closes this Friday. CRTPO will select any requests around January. It goes through several levels, POC and UPWP, before it gets to the CRTPO board. But then it's always for the next fiscal year. So not until that fiscal year will we be authorized to be able to engage the study, which is probably just as well, because with COVID, we're not getting the traffic patterns that we want to get the best data from. So hopefully, fingers crossed, all across many reasons, we would want that hopefully to be behind us. and get traffic back to its pre-COVID levels. And then that's when we would be programming the money in that next year's budget. So again, the action for that is a motion to approve future $12,000 of local funding to match the grant application. The application requires the local board to concur as a part of the application. The alternatives, if we wanted to kind of reduce the money, is just do the study itself and not do any analysis. That would just bring it down to a $3,000 local match. But again, I see we would want to already take these numbers and apply them to a couple of our scenarios. We already have some of the lower level analysis values to right out of the gate. So I am recommending that we go for the full $60,000. And with that, I'll open to questions.
Hey, Matt, my question for you is this origin study, is it going to study a particular corridor or route?
Absolutely. It's specifically for downtown. So we'd be probably placing cameras at 16 at both ends of 75, Waxhaw Marvin Road and Howie Mine Road, all the major feeders that feed downtown, so that we are capturing specifically what traffic is coming downtown in the first place, and then where are they going once they get through the 16 and 75 intersection.
Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the replacement request that we pulled last
It is.
time?
It is. So what the mayor's referring to is we had a previous grant approved for $200,000 to study alternatives for the parkway through the Howie parcel. And before we were able to get to the fiscal year and get authorization, that property went under contract, and we lost the ability to constrain with a federal approved design. And so we had to rescind that grant. And in working with the CRTPO and with DOT, right up to the last minute, last week, we had another meeting on what, if that's already kind of moved out of our ability to get better analysis, what is the next best option? And this is what everybody came together to decide.
Thank you. Any other questions of the engineer? All right, so what we have right now is the request for a motion for approval or denial of the authorization for the town administration to submit this grant. Basically, it's a resubmittal. So do I have a motion on the floor?
A motion to approve the submission of this request for grant funding.
Very good. So there's a motion to approve. Any discussion? Seeing no hands on that, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote, please. Mayor Pro Tem?
Aye.
Commissioner Westlake?
Aye.
Commissioner Simpson?
Aye.
Commissioner Moray?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. Matt, you're on your way. You got a quick deadline to make up by Friday again for the resubmittal, so appreciate all that effort, and we'll try to get some additional support from the CRTPO on this end. So appreciate
Absolutely.
your work.
Very good. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Okay, at this point, we move down again to there are no general public comments, and we're going to go to the town leadership reports. I'm going to call on Town Manager Jeffrey Wells. Jeff, the floor is yours again.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one thing to share tonight. We appreciate the folks that came out to our Waxhaw growth strategy, our public input sessions. We had 2 of those sessions, and we've also been getting online feedback for quite some time, the last few months. And so we have now closed those, and we are taking all of that into the document, making our last minute tweaks, adjustments, and then we'll have our final draft ready to provide to the board by the end of this month. That's our goal. And of course, I'd sent you an email just making you aware of a anticipated schedule as far as moving through the documents. I know that that's kind of a tedious thing to do, but I think it is very important when you're working through a document like this that we need to go through it chapter by chapter, not necessarily word by word, but I think this requires more than just a PowerPoint presentation. I think we got to scroll through all the content just so the board has an understanding of it, can ask all the questions, can make any adjustments that you see fit to it as well. But the one thing that I want to make sure that the board is working through it more than anything is that you understand what you are looking to approve. Just so, we don't have sometime down the road that, well, I didn't know that this could go there, that could go here, and all that kind of stuff. So we need to take the time to do that. So I know that would be a lot of meetings to do, but we certainly can go through it as diligently as we can, but want to give you the time that you need to make sure that you are comfortable with the document. And our goal is still to have it done by the first quarter of this next calendar year, so winter 2021. So if we can keep to a schedule of working through the document between the early November through the holiday season, then that gives us the holidays and into the first part of the year to make any adjustments that we need to make, and then work towards public hearings and adoption. Thank you.
Jeff, you're going to provide us with another updated hard copy with the changes from the input session, correct?
You will get hard copy and you will get digital copy. Yes.
Thank you.
And we're also going to endeavor to try to make this move fairly quickly, trying to have, we'll probably have to call special meetings every week when we want to do this. But again, we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance and an opportunity to understand every phase of this. Town manager and I have talked about the proposals on windows that we're going to work through, and we're looking at about 5 different dates that we're going to have to meet, so we don't have a very, very long meeting. There'll probably be maybe a couple-hour sessions each, Jeff, if I remember right, and kind of go through the document section by section, page by page.
Yeah, 2-3 hours tops. I mean, certainly the goal is not to bore everybody to death by scrolling through a document, but just trying to read through the content and make sure that you have an understanding through each section. And I'm trying to divide it up in the subject matter that makes sense, that kind of group together. Different chapters cover different areas, and work through it that way. And of course, also it's not just the text, but it's also looking at the maps, working through those, because that is a big part of it. The document is the implementation document, but that the map shows where it's implemented. So that's another big part of it as well that we would go through. I would say the first vision is in 5 meetings, but probably have a couple of other scheduled times in case we need more than that. So I would say probably safely we schedule 7 meeting times and then hope that we don't need all of them.
Jeff, would it be possible for you to hand out, like, when we get our hard copies or digital copies, the assignments of each week of the content that we need to review? Like, I need like a schoolwork assignment so I can keep up with it on each chapter, what we need to go through.
We were happy to do that. And I think I already provided a guide of my initial thoughts on that in a previous email, but I'll be happy to get that back up on the top of your inboxes and send that out again.
Perfect.
Okay, appreciate that, Jeff. And again, we're going to work our schedules. It may not be a consistent day of the week, depending on everybody's schedule, but we'll just try to work it through till we get done.
That sounds great. I know you have a process, a more immediate process over the next few weeks, but we'll be ready to go once November gets here and you're ready to go.
Appreciate it. Any other questions for the town manager on this item? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. We'll drop down to Parks and Rec. Dina, you're back up. Mute, unmute. There you go.
There we go. Sometimes I forget to do that. That's okay. All right. There we go. All right. Tonight, I'm going to give you a heads up on what's going on in programming and events and what's going on in the park system. So we'll move forward. We have a new program guide. It's from October to December. So please check it out, and also join us on Rec Desk to sign up for any of our programs and events. And I wanted just to give you a little heads up. We had a little bit of a rain event over the weekend. So we got a little wet, but all parks are open now, cleaned up, and they were just minor debris and just basically cutting through the mud that got into parking lots and on the trail. So we're all set now. All the safety checks have been done, and we're ready to play again. Programs that happened this past week, we had a full family program with pottery. I was fortunate enough to be there and help out, so we had a great night. We have another family program coming up this Thursday, Still Room, with one of our new businesses downtown, which we're so happy that they're partnering with us. Our senior coffee is going to be postponed until next month. We didn't have as many signups. Everybody's still not quite ready yet, so that's okay. So we're going to try again next month. And then we have a team program also this Thursday, another partnership with one of our downtown businesses with the Knit Shop, which we're always cool about. Couple new programs coming up is, I'm not going to say this right, meat and cheese platters and how to make them. The October 29th class is already full. The pop-up, we added a class for November the 5th. There's only 2 spots left. So if you want them, get registered tonight. We also have another partnership with our downtown restaurant, Caprici's. They're doing a youth pizza making class, which is really cool. Fitness. So we have a walking program. Miss Amy goes out on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, and we have a great little following. And these are some of the ladies. That is every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. Then every Friday we have yoga for all levels at Town Creek at 9 a.m. on Fridays. So please join us for that as well. And Senior Fitness is, they're finishing up their last session, and we'll start a new session this coming up week. So please join us for that. So this is really exciting. So if you're ready to get down and shake what you got, please join us on this Friday night. We have our second drive-in concert. We still have spaces available. So please get on Rec Desk and join us for an awesome night of music and socially distant fellowship. And so we would love to have you a part of that event. The next event coming up is a modified Fright Night event. So it's going to be a drive-through event. So we're going to use our parade route. And we're also in need of everyone to register, because we have different time periods to take you through downtown. And all of our wonderful businesses downtown are going to be participating. We're going to give out goodie bags in the beginning to all my little ghosts and goblins that are in the car. And then you get to see a wonderful display of Halloween fun in our downtown area. So we would love for you to join us for that. Next event after that is our first movie night, and we're watching The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like one of my favorite ones with Jack and Sally. And so you're going to see us all dressed up and having fun with that as well. Please go ahead and sign up. That one's actually getting closer to being full. So we're really excited about bringing movie night to Waxhaw. I wanted to give you a little bit heads up on what the committees have been doing. Haven't done that in a while. So PCR is going to be ankle deep in getting us ready for the master plan for the new park, for our downtown park. And so they're going to be part of their work plan for this coming up year. It's going to be working on that. And the public art selection jury is working on a inventory and mapping system of our public art downtown. We were just recently got a firm to come and do assessments of our art. So that's what they're working on as well, and which is, they're doing an awesome job, and we have a meeting tomorrow night to talk about it. And again, we love partnerships. So as I said earlier, we've got some great downtown partnerships already planned for the next couple weeks, but we definitely want to engage with our community, especially their businesses and artisans more. So if you have a talent, come and see us. We would love to partnership with you. Update on phasing. Right now we're in phase 3 with the governor's order, and that ends next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. And we have public signs that are up to help us stay safe, and just help, friendly reminders on to play responsible. And as always, I leave you with our vision and mission. I know we talked really fast through that, so if y'all have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Any questions for the Parks and Rec Director? See no hands, the screen's moving around on me. So Dina, thank you again very much for that. And we're really looking forward to taking all those next steps with you. So I know you've worked very hard on that. It's a lot of work to go yet, but we're going to get there. So appreciate it.
I'm excited. This is awesome. We're going to.
This is good. I'm liking it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I do have sad news. Matt Falconberry will not be doing a town leadership report. We will miss hearing from him tonight.
Matt Falconberry or?
Oh, sorry, Matt Hubert. Sorry.
All right, not a problem. Okay, so we're going to scratch then item number 3, and we're going to move on to item number 4, which I want to take a little bit of the lead on. I want to give a big shout out and congratulations to our own Mayor Pro Tem, Brenda McMillan. Brenda just got appointed to the North Carolina League of Municipalities as a legislative policy committee member. And the first part of that term is 2020-2021. So she will be able to, again, give guidance to that committee with ideas and work on top consensus positions for the board of directors. Brenda, that's a great move. I know that's going to just add to your list of doing nothing, but that's going to be a lot of work. And again, we're getting recognized here for all of our efforts here in the town. We're getting noticed. And so Brenda, very, very good. Congratulations to that. We'll do the non-virtual and the virtual hand clap. So we're looking forward to great things. And again, congratulations on that. So very good. Anything you want to add to that now that I've embarrassed you a little bit? I love it. I can't tell. The pink and the screen are the same now, so I can't tell whether you're embarrassed or not. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for going at that. I know you and I talked briefly about that in another position. I'm glad to see that you were selected for this. And so again, thanks for the effort and certainly representing us and everybody else in the region. So we're looking forward to some good things coming out of there. Okay, with that, any other comments from any other board members? I know we all want to go home tonight or go have something, so appreciate your efforts tonight. Charlie, anything from you tonight?
I'm good, Mayor. Thank you.
Very good. Well, I appreciate it all. I think that we've come to finally the conclusion of tonight's meeting. So there's nothing on closed session. So I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn from someone?
So moved.
So move, roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem McMillan,
Aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Aye.
Commissioner Westlake,
Aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Aye.
Outstanding. All right, everybody, we're done. Say goodnight, Mary Ellen. We're off to the races one more time.
Be safe,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good night, everybody.
You too.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again, everyone.
You're welcome, Tracy.
You're welcome.